Brodes Media.
When we get to this James Harden thing, and I know that he does so many damn things well. He's a phenomenal scorer. He can draw contact. He can definitely get you a lot of fouls. When he's drawing those fouls, what's he doing? He's going downhill and he's putting you in an uncomfortable position by basically targeting your chest and saying, go ahead, try and stop me. I'm just going to mow you down. You will not get in my way. I will make sure I get to the rack. And because he's putting the defenders in a position, and that's why I talk about IQ all the time. There's so much to learn in this league, and part of the details that matter so much, and Maxey has already taken such big strides in the right direction with this, it's you got to know how to draw contact. You got to know how to go downhill. You have to know how to make the other team forced to foul you. Like, that's all part of this. So, James Harden, all he does is this, that. No, he knows how to earn those fouls by when he's pretty much attacking you. He's attacking your chest, so you have nothing you can do as a defender, and it's amazing to watch. And you know what? He's fantastic with his step-back threes, and he's fantastic with his ability to create separation when there's a defender that's right into his circle, if you will, and he just, with ease, takes his step back, and he drains it, right? So there's so many areas to his game that definitely is going to help this team improve. But the number one, and this isn't groundbreaking stuff, but I've kind of heard more like a barroom conversation, right? It's not so much you're wrong, you're absolutely off base here. It's more of a barroom conversation. You're having a couple cold ones. You're sitting at the bar. You hear the guy talking Sixers next to you. You turn around. You start shooting the shit a little bit. And for me, look, this team didn't have a primary ball handler that could just make simple passes. Now, you got someone who's way better than just simple passes and just a guy who can hold his own. You got a way better passer than Ben Simmons. You got one of the most intense passers there is in this league. How many times has he bounced past the ball perfectly in the breadbasket of a winger who's pretty much going to the corner, and then with ease, here's a bounce pass right perfectly where it needs to be, and then you get a nice shot off in rhythm, or just the offense kind of gets going from there. And I'm just saying, from a different part of the court, whatever the case may be, just him dialing up the calmness of a half-court set where it's the passing. Now, I don't know if he's going to give you 16 or if he's going to give you 12 every single night. He may. I mean, he averaged 10, so maybe we are in that category. Hell, he's passing up shots so Matisse Thybulle can get his threes. Now, maybe that's part of him just getting here and everyone feeling out the process of what James Harden's going to be like when you talk about those half-court sets and how he wants to run things, where it's like, look, I'm here for everybody else. It's not just me. It's not just the focus that I have on getting points and making sure I take a bunch of shots so we can win the basketball game. I'm worried about making sure that Tobias Harris knows he's still part of this. I want Matisse Thybulle to know that he's still a part of this as well. Everyone is involved and engaged. Be ready, because the ball can come your way anytime. Now, in my opinion, I don't need Matisse Thybulle to be taking threes. I don't need James Harden to be telling Matisse Thybulle, I don't want the shot. You can have it, Matisse, because ultimately that's going to be a failure mindset when the team is in postseason play and it matters the most. James, just worry about you there. Don't worry about Matisse. Only worry about Matisse when he's cutting to the basket, when he's wide open. And I heard a great little story about Doc Rivers, and when he was watching film against what happened in Minnesota, they realized that there were so many chances for him to move off ball, but he just didn't. Whenever a defender just pretty much said, do anything because I'm not even going to pay attention to you. You are so irrelevant offensively that I don't give a damn what is happening when you're on the floor and hanging out by the three-point line. So when the defender just totally ignored him, Matisse Thybulle has to take advantage of those moments and put himself in a position where his defender fell asleep or his defender's getting drawn into a little bit of help defense, and you got to move off the ball. that's when you pay attention. That's when you start focusing on Matisse Thybulle. But other than that, I don't want to hear the good teammate thing. No, be selfish. And there's times where I want you to be selfish, damn it. And that's definitely one of them. But ultimately, he'll probably find his balance as the games continue to go on and they progress as a unit moving forward. This was as sharp could get for the first two games. Not that it was a perfect brand of basketball. Look, that New York Knicks team was scrappy and they were battling and they came back and they were fighting, right? All of this is so very true. But at the end of the day, when you see that James Harden can stop the bleeding when it's necessary, the Knicks go on a run. No. I got you. Even when it's an all-bench lineup plus James Harden. So it's James Harden with these bench pieces of Niang and Millsap and Furkan. And the Knicks go on a push. And Furkan can't even put a pass in the post area for Joel Embiid. What's going to happen? Oh, I know what's going to happen. James Harden hits a step back. James Harden draws a foul. James Harden hits a step back. And that stops the Knicks from believing that they can really do this. Without James Harden being there, it's more run of Furkan Korkmaz. It's more pathetic play and really not enough scoring and not enough actual sense of urgency from a team that can execute very well. And I love the fact that this is just them playing. And that's what it is, honestly. They're just out there. Yeah, where I just know a couple of plays. And that's real when they say that. They're just out there trying to play and putting it out and just seeing what happens within flow. And then from there, they're adjust. Sort of like what I just said about Matisse Thybulle. They realized that Matisse was being defended a certain way. Hey, you have to counter that. You have to put yourself in better positions. And then what happened against the Knicks? There were a couple of really great cuts and a couple of really great moments. I will say that Tobias Harris 3, though, that we all loved at the end, even though he had a pathetic, awful night at the office. Matisse Thybulle was wide open underneath the basket. It sort of reminded me almost like a Ben Simmons thing, where he's wide open right there. Put it up, dude. You're literally a half inch away from the basket. Why are you not going up with it? But then he just zipped it to the corner, and Tobias Harris drilled it. So, hey, it worked. It worked. But I'm sure if that shot did not fall, we'd probably all be complaining that, dude, you went to the coldest player on the court, the time where you just had to go up and lay it up or dunk it. Please don't tell me we have another player who's scared offensively and just about the defensive side, even though we already know we have that. And yes, I'm harsh. I get it. I'm harsh. I'm just pointing out the reality of the situation, though. And to kind of get back on point, though, with the main question of the day, and I would love to hear from you out there, whether you're kicking it in the chat room, which the chat room's going nice. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Or there's the Anytime Hotline text messages or phone calls at 856-442-9805. When you look at James Harden and you think about where this team is, what stands out to you the most for the most important skill set that he provides? And there's a lot here. I mean, look, there's going to be possessions where you don't have it going, and it's a bad possession, and the other team has a good defensive stop, but someone just has to break down a defender and get a bucket. That's so valuable to the team. There was no one who could really get their own shot. Yeah, Joel Embiid, but outside of that, I'm talking perimeter play. And yeah, we like Maxey, but he's still a work in progress, and there's a difference when he's on the ball and off the ball, as we all can see. So when you look at a player like James Harden, what is it for you? To me, I mean, they didn't have a primary ball handler. They had none. They had Zippo. They didn't have a real point guard. To me, it's the passing ability and getting players in position. He's not only doing that, but he's excelling to another level with it, and these passes are so damn sharp. And the reason why it benefits him the way that it does, and we can use Ben Simmons as the example, is Ben Simmons was only good at passing. And when you're only good at passing, it's totally different what you can get on the floor compared to when you are a great scorer and you're a great driver and you're a great three-point shooter. When there's a lot of different angles to your game and there's versatility involved, your passing now reaches a whole entire level and opens up way more. And that's why we were stressing how important it is for a defensive player to have to recognize it and stay true to that lockup matchup. They have to lock up that player. And it's different when you don't. When you can back off, you can't run a pick and roll And I thought that the pick and roll would eventually kind of find its way within, I don't know, maybe a week or two, maybe 2 weeks. You'd be saying, yup, that's it. Within 2 games. And we're already seeing what that action does for everybody else involved. Even if the play doesn't necessarily go to a rolling Joel Embiid, it's Tyrese Maxey in the corner. And Tyrese then can make a great decision. And he'll hit a floater as he's rolling, or as he's driving straight line, I should say. Dribble penetration, putting the ball on the floor, and then with some defensive rotations, maybe that even opens up another look. But he had some tough floaters that he could drain. He had the one where his momentum was taking him left. And then he almost just floats it the opposite direction of the way that his body goes. It's just hard to even fathom how unbelievable he has gotten at some of this for sure. Elliot from Foxborough, Mass. is texting into the Anytime hotline. For me, it's the accountability that James Harden brings to this team. This is what stands out to him the most. And because we're asking the question, what skill set, what attribute of James Harden is most noticeable when being added to this roster and to Joel Embiid? And Elliot believes it's the accountability. Joel is a great leader, but Harden has this unmatchable maturity, and he makes everyone around him better. There are several times where Maxey or Tobias or even Joel make a mistake, and I think to myself, next time out, Harden will tell them what they can do better. Yeah, I like that too. I think that's a great point, and that's not taking any shots at Embiid or saying that he's not a good leader, because he is too, and this is still part of Joel Embiid being the mature leader. He's grown up big time from where he was 5 years ago to where he is now, but I do think that there's this different element to the way James Harden does his thing. He's a best 75 player in the world ever to play the damn game. He's a future Hall of Famer. Not that Joel Embiid isn't, but there's already that pedigree attached to his name. There's already this huge body of work of James Harden being one of the most elite players in the entire world. That's just been a little bit longer. And when he ends up arriving and you hear the buzz and you see how excited all the news outlets are and the fan base and the NBA world, there's a reason why. It's because you got James fucking Harden, right? There's a big reason why we're stoked watching him walk through the tunnel with a cup of coffee in his hands, and we start fainting and sweating in excitement because there's just a different vibe that surrounds us, the city, knowing what type of impact he brings. And just that vibe. We talked about a black cloud that surfaced the Camden facility when Ben Simmons was still here, where it's the same example, but it's the complete opposite, which is it's not a black cloud that's following. It's the big sunshine. It's a big, huge sunshine with rays just blasting, and the clouds are moving away and the sun is coming up, right? That's what it is for Harden, and I think that there's a different level. Matisse Thybulle listening to a Harden, shoot the ball. A Niang, shoot the ball. I don't want you dribbling anymore. Shoot the damn basketball. And what happened in Milwaukee before the All-Star break after a couple tough sequences and a couple tough possessions for Niang? He ends up taking 10 threes and knocking down 5 of them, and was a huge part of the reason why they were able to win the damn game against Giannis, and he put on a great performance. So, I agree. I do like, it's like Embiid was a really good leader, and he was definitely getting involved with this new era of him, getting double teamed and then saying, hey, Matisse, I need you to take those threes when he's getting doubled, and finding some of his teammates. And he was definitely leading on and off the floor. I don't want to take anything away from that, but you add even a talent like Harden, and now you have 2 of those guys, and maybe someone who's just a little bit more mature than Embiid is in Harden. And yeah, I agree. I think that's a great one, Elliot. I can't agree more with you there. It seems he's always vocal, always talking, and there'll be some communication uh-ohs, if you will, but that's going to be worked out, no doubt. Everyone saw the play of him somewhat looking at Danny Green after an inbound play, and he starts going, what the hell is this? He's got both of his hands up, where this is game 2, and he's already not satisfied with something. Yeah, what are you doing? This is not what we do. Even though he also admitted that we're not even running anything, and it's just we're out there trying to see what we have, and then from there, we'll make our adjustments. I love that. We'll just see what we have. Oh, yeah, we'll see. I mean, you have a lot. You have a lot.